Rica Alvarez had built her career on precision. Precision in code, precision in deadlines, precision in people. As the head of product at Chiron Systems, a fast-scaling AI company known for its ruthless efficiency, she had learned to trust patterns and dismiss anomalies. The hiring process was designed to filter out noise, résumé passed by algorithms, aptitude tests graded by machines, interviews scored on calibrated rubrics. It was all very clean, very rational, very safe. That was why the man sitting across from her felt so out of place. He was early 40s, maybe, with the tired posture of someone who carried too much weight that wasn't visible on his frame. His blazer was neat but worn, the elbows faintly shiny. He had a messenger bag at his feet and a coffee stain on the rim of his paper cup. His resume, which had somehow slipped past the automated gatekeepers and landed on her desk because of a recruiter's insistence, read like a patchwork quilt. Community college. Freelance gigs, long gaps, no big-name companies. A single line at the bottom mentioned independent study in cryptography and systems translation. Rica had raised an eyebrow at that. "So," she said now, folding her hands on the conference table, glass walls framing the city behind her. "Mr. Hale, your cover letter says," she paused, glancing down, "Just give me a job and I'll translate the code." He smiled, not sheepish, not cocky, just steady. "Yes." Rica laughed. It escaped her before she could stop it, a short, incredulous sound. She covered it with a cough and offered an apologetic tilt of her head. "I'm sorry. It's just, we're not a localization firm. We don't need translators." "I know," he said. His voice was calm, low. "I don't mean language-to-language translation. I mean meaning to meaning." Rica leaned back. "That's a nice phrase. But we're hiring a systems analyst. The role requires 5 years of experience with distributed architectures, security protocols, and performance optimization at scale. Your resume doesn't show the usual badges," he finished for her, still smiling. "No." She studied him more closely now. There was something disarming about his lack of defensiveness. Most candidates tried to fill the silence with justifications, excuses, buzzwords. He waited. "And you're currently," she prompted. "A single dad," he said simply. "2 kids, 8 and 5. Rica nodded automatically. She didn't know what to do with that information, so she filed it away under irrelevant. "Right, well, Mr. Hale, I appreciate your honesty, but I don't see how—" "Hey, give me 10 minutes, he said, "no more. If at the end you still think I'm wasting your time, I'll thank you and leave." She hesitated. 10 minutes was nothing, and she had already set aside half an hour because the recruiter had begged. Curiosity, that old enemy of efficiency, stirred. "Fine," she said. 10 minutes. He reached into his messenger bag and pulled out a small laptop. Older model, scuffed. He opened, it fingers moving with practiced ease. "You're working on Project Atlas," he said casually, as if discussing the weather. Rica stiffened. "That's confidential." "Your last earnings call mentioned a new adaptive core," he said. "Your job postings mention real-time optimization under variable loads. Your GitHub activity public repos show experiments with graph-based decision engines. Atlas is a good internal name for something that tries to hold the world." She didn't like how easily he had said that. "Go on." "You have a problem," he continued. "Your system performs beautifully in controlled environments, but degrades under edge case pressure. Not because the algorithms are wrong, but because the assumptions are." Rica crossed her arms. "That's a bold claim." He nodded. "May I?" She gestured reluctantly toward the screen mounted on the wall. He connected his laptop. Lines of code appeared. Unfamiliar, yet unsettlingly close to what she knew lived in their private repositories. He wasn't showing their code, she realized, but a mirror of it, reconstructed from principles and patterns. "This," he said, highlighting a section, "is where you tell the system what the world looks like. And this is where the world laughs at you." Rica leaned forward despite herself. "You assume consistency," he went on. "You assume that nodes behave according to historical averages. But real systems, human systems especially, are not just noisy. They're adversarial, emotional, irrational. Your code tries to force them into compliance instead of understanding them. She frowned. Understanding isn't something you can code. He smiled again. That's the translation part. He began to explain, not in jargon-heavy abstractions, but in stories. He talked about traffic flows like conversations, about security breaches like misunderstandings, about latency spikes like children testing boundaries. He mapped technical constructs to lived experiences, drawing parallels that made Rica's chest tighten with an uncomfortable recognition. She found herself seeing her own systems differently, not as elegant machines, but as brittle agreements with chaos. "This is ridiculous," she muttered, though she didn't look away. He typed, adjusted parameters, rewrote a small section of logic. "Run this scenario," he said. Rica hesitated, then nodded to the engineer monitoring the interview feeds from the adjacent room. The simulation ran. The familiar graph appeared, and then, instead of collapsing under the injected anomalies, it bent, adapted, stabilized. Silence filled the room. "That's not possible," Rica whispered. "It is," he said gently. "You just weren't speaking the system's language." She stared at him, her earlier laughter echoing uncomfortably in her memory. "Where did you learn to think like this?" He closed the laptop slowly. "Raising kids, translating between tantrums and needs, between what they say and what they mean, between rules and reality." Rica blinked. She hadn't expected that. "I used to work in tech," he continued, "a long time ago. Then my wife got sick, cancer. I took freelance work so I could be home. After she passed, priorities changed. Companies don't like gaps. They don't like people who can't stay late, who can't travel on a whim. So I built my own curriculum, studied at night, practiced by day, kept translating." Rica felt something shift inside her, a crack in the armor of metrics and models she had worn for years. She thought of her own life, meticulously optimized, painfully empty. The code had always made sense to her, people less so. "You laughed," he said, not accusing, just stating a fact. "That's okay. Most people do." She met his eyes. "I'm not laughing now." "No," he agreed. "You're listening." The 10 minutes were long gone. Rica didn't care. She stood slowly. "If we were to consider you," she said, choosing her words carefully, "it would be unconventional. Flexible hours, remote options, no guarantees." He smiled, relief flickering briefly across his face before settling back into calm. "I don't need guarantees. I need a chance." Rica extended her hand. "Welcome to Chiron Systems. Mr. Hale, let's see how much more our code has to say." As he shook her hand, she realized something profound and unsettling. The system she had trusted to judge talent had almost filtered out the one person who could teach it to understand itself. And as the single dad gathered his things and prepared to head back to a life that demanded constant translation, Rica knew she would never laugh so easily again.